Hi there, this video tutorial is about setting up the assignment module for collection of assignments and distribution of grades within Moodle. First of all, go to the course you'd like to add an assignment module to. Go ahead and click Turn Editing On. And then in the bottom right hand corner of the section you'd like to add, go ahead and click Add an Activity or Resource. I'm just going to add it in the top section of this course. You'll see Assignment as the first activity up there at the top of this menu. Go ahead and select it and click Add. Name the assignment. And then the description is the prompt for the assignment itself. So once you've typed the description in there, that will give the students the prompt that they need to submit to your assignment. If you want to display that on the course page, you can check this checkbox right here and it will display the assignment description on the course page so that the students will see the assignment right on the front page. And then you can drag and drop any additional files that you'd like to add. So if they have a template that they need to fill out, or you have a longer Word document or a PDF explaining the assignment, you could go ahead and drag and drop that file there. The availability options you can set to where students can only submit after a certain date. You can also set a due date, which is not a hard deadline. It'll just give you a readout when you're looking at the assignment submissions that a student submitted, so many hours before the due date or so many hours after the due date. If you want to cut off student submissions at a certain time, say you want to have it due on the 22nd of March, but you want to cut it off on the 23rd of March, you can have a cutoff date here. I recommend you don't use this. Almost always teachers want to reopen it and it causes issues. I would recommend allowing students to submit indefinitely and then addressing late assignments through some other method. And finally, there's a Remind Me to Grade By box. So if you want Moodle to give you a reminder to grade these by a certain date, you can set that up there in that Remind Me to Grade By area. By default, Moodle will accept both online text submissions and file submissions. These boxes right here are where you check to make changes for those submission types. Online text will give the students a text box where they just type in their answers. It's a little bit less formal. Also, if you wanted to have students submit a 2-minute video, the online text submission is what you're going to have them use. They could click the video icon and it'll allow them to record for 2 minutes. And then the file submission is what you would want to use if you want a student to upload a Word document, a PDF, a spreadsheet, or something like that. For the online text, you can enable a word limit if you want to. So if I wanted to have no more than 250 words for online text submissions, I could enable that here. I'm not going to use that though, and I'm actually going to uncheck file submissions to have an online text submission only if you're looking for students to submit online text rather than files. So one other item that you might want to notice is that you can have a maximum number of uploaded files. If you only want one file, you can limit it there. And I would leave the maximum submission size open to the site upload limit. And then you can add accepted file types here. So if I only wanted students to submit .docx files, those are the Word document files, or perhaps a PDF file, I could limit those here. You can also get a full list of the different file types by clicking Choose. So if you wanted to, for example, see I've got document files here, and because I put in PDF and .docx, those are already checked. But so you can change that using this interface if you wanted a Word document and not a PDF document, those two different types of Word documents. You can set that up here. So you get to choose what kind of files students can submit. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down and click Save Changes, and you see it automatically updated to .docx and .doc there. There are several other submissions here, and I'll go through them really quickly. I would recommend leaving these defaults here that you give feedback comments and feedback files. Feedback files allows you to upload a Word document, for example, if you had made comments on it or something like that. And feedback comments gives you a box to type in online text that'll show up next to the grade in the grade book. Submission settings allow you to change, like you can have students reopen the attempt where you get to reopen manually. So by default, though, attempts are never reopened. Finally, there's group submission settings. Do you want students to submit in groups? If you do, what happens if one student from a group submits, that submission will be recorded for all of the students in that group, and you can just grade that one, and it will distribute the grades to all of the students in that group automatically. You have to have groups and groupings set up in order for this to work. That is a separate tutorial. I'd encourage you to look at that if you're interested in having students submit in lab groups or in collaborative working groups of some kind. Also, I want to point out that we have the Irken Plagiarism plugin. If you want to check for student plagiarism, enable this to yes, and I would leave all of these other settings just exactly as they are. I'm not going to use the plagiarism plugin for this one, but if you're interested in checking students' papers automatically for plagiarism, you can enable Irken there. Finally, the grade is... you can set the maximum grade here. Do you want to grade out of 100? Do you want to grade out of 10? Do you want to grade out of 50? This area is where you set the maximum grade. I'm going to leave it at 100. For right now, we're going to leave simple direct grading because that is, you get the assignment and you just put the grade in as a number. Notice that Moodle also allows you to use grading guides where you have different aspects. You grade on a 1 to 10 for different aspects, for instance, or a rubric where you click different levels of words that you get to put in yourself. I'm going to create a separate tutorial for the rubric and grading guide functions. So I'm going to leave all of these other items in their defaults, and I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Display. And now you see that we have the assignment set up, and if I want to view all student submissions, I could go ahead and click View All Submissions here, and we'll see, of course, that I don't have any submissions yet because none of these students have submitted. But when I did, their submissions would show up in these two columns right here, the online text and the file submissions. If they had submitted a Word document, it would show up here and I could download it. If they had submitted online text, it would show up here and I could just view it right in the web page there. Also, if I just want to grade a single student's one, I could go ahead and click Grade, and it'll open the single user grading interface. So if their assignment, if Dan had submitted an assignment, I would see his submission up here. I could give him a grade out of 100 right here. Maybe I want to give him a 98, and then I'll give him some feedback comments. Great work. Thanks for your hard work in this class. Okay, now I'll go ahead and click Save Changes, or maybe Save and Show Next. So if I click Save and Show Next, it'll say that the changes to the grade and feedback were saved, and it'll bring up the next student. Notice also that in this interface I can get a drop down of all the students in the course, so I can seek individual students to give them a grade. I could also filter for those that require grading, for instance. Notice right now that there are 13 students in that list, but if I click, I just want to see the ones that require grading, I get none because no students have submitted, so I don't have any students that require grading. And I could also see all the ones that are not submitted or all the ones that are submitted. This allows me to filter which students show up in this drop-down menu up here. So I'll take a quick look at the grade book now that I've graded one, and I'll just show you what it looks like for that student. So I'm going to head back to my course. I'm going to go to Course Management, and I'm going to go into the grade book. There's a separate tutorial about using the grade book. I'm just going to show you where all this information goes. I'm going to use the single view, I'm going to use the user report just to see Dan Case's submission because I gave him a submission. And you'll notice that when I scroll down, this is what Dan would see when he came into the gradebook. He'll see he got a 98, and he'll see this comment next to it, "Thanks for your hard work in this class." So again, anytime you want to see what a user sees in the gradebook, Just go to Course Management, Gradebook, select User Report down at the bottom, and then select your student that you'd like to see, and that'll show you exactly what that student will see when they go into the gradebook. So again, there's that assignment that we just created and what it looks like to the student. That concludes this tutorial on using the assignment module. You should have a look at the rubric and grading guide tutorials as well. Those are very handy tools for eliminating confirmation bias and making sure that you distribute feedback consistently across your class. Aside from that, thanks a lot for watching, and as always, happy Moodling.